Welcome to episode 17 of Jacksonville Momcast. Today, our guest is Christin Murillo. Christin is a doula with Doulas of Jacksonville and one of the moms behind Jack's Bump and Beyond Expo. Today, we chat with Christin about her work to support expecting and new moms and the upcoming parenting convention. Welcome to the Jacksonville Momcast, a podcast dedicated to real stories for real parents. Each episode, we'll chat with local Jacksonville moms and cover topics to help you navigate mom life on the First Coast. Thanks for joining us as we tackle all things motherhood and more with a focus on the 904. Good morning. Today we have Christin Murillo from Doulas of Jacksonville. And Christin, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your family?
Well, I am a married Christian mom of three, and we have lived in the Jacksonville area forever. I grew up here. I lived in Mandarin when I grew up and went to Mandarin High School and all of that type of thing. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a little bit about me.
Well, so tell us a little bit about Doulas of Jacksonville.
Okay, so Doulas of Jacksonville is a doula agency, which means that you call and hire us and we match you up with a doula that's right for you. And then she supports you through the remainder of your pregnancy and your birth.
So let's start by having you tell us a little bit about your journey to become a doula.
Well, it all started when I was pregnant with my first baby, and I had a neighbor who was a doula, and she ended up being my doula for that birth. And I had a wonderful experience. It went great. I had the natural childbirth that I wanted and that type of thing. But at the same time, a lot of my friends were having babies, and they weren't hiring doulas, and their birth outcomes were very traumatic for them, and so I saw many friends have unplanned cesareans and episiotomies and things like that. And I was like, whoa, like there's some type of major factor here that is contributing to how different these births are, which there's obviously multiple factors that always contribute into that, with your overall health and whatnot and that type of thing. But I realized that one of the main factors was the fact that I had a doula and my friends did not. And so when I had a question about some evidence on a certain topic, like delayed cord clamping or something like that, then I would just ask her and she would give me the evidence-based research. And I really felt very informed. And I could tell that my friends who were going into birth at the same time frame were not feeling as informed and prepared for the process, and so that really got my gears turning in my head as far as what I can do to help my friends have more positive birth experiences. Because when we start off parenthood, we start that journey off in pregnancy and birth. And while, yes, at the end of the day, everyone's goal, no matter what, is a healthy mom and a healthy baby, there are many things that go into how you get that. And part of having a healthy mom is also having a healthy mental and emotional state as well through the process. And I saw that through myself having a doula support, I had a much more positive outcome describing it to my friends and family and whatnot. And so that really got me, that planted the seed for me. And I just continued to study and water that seed through the years, through having my other two children. And then by the time I had my third, which was in 2014, I was like, okay, why am I fooling around and not really doing this full force? Because I had doulaed for some friends and some family randomly throughout that course of period of time, and I said, okay, I'm just going to do it. And so I dove headfirst in and never looked back.
That's awesome. We have so many moms that their stories evolve from their experience into a new career path. So it's just so cool to hear how everybody kind of gets to where they are. So for moms that may not know, tell us what exactly a doula does.
So a doula is a trained professional in birth. Okay. So what that means is that this person is the expert in the room that's not governed by the medical system, basically. Okay. And so what that means is that this person is trained in normal physiological birth, what happens within your body, and what those sensations usually feel like for you. They're armed with all of the evidence-based research. We stay up to date. And when I say up to date, I'm checking things weekly for us and our doulas as far as ACOG recommendations and whatnot, and the APA and everything. And so with that, you get that expertise of, well, this is what the evidence says about it. And so you're telling me that this is what your physician or your midwife is saying about it. So you take those two things and put it together and figure out what you want to do, and so your doula is the person that helps you through that process. And so that could look like that type of a scenario, or it could look like, hey, I've been through this before. I've done this before. I've been there and done that. And I just need somebody to show up and tell me that I can do this and be there in case an emergency goes on, to help me emotionally deal with that. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And I know I didn't use a doula for my births, but I did have some friends who did. And for them, one of the biggest services offered was to have an advocate in the room who knows what their wishes are and can kind of act as almost like not a middleman, but just to be an advocate for them, the health of the mom and their baby.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a doula, we provide emotional, physical, and mental support for women and their families through the birthing process. And so that can go from pregnancy all the way through postpartum doula help at home to help you learn how to bathe your baby and learn how to see and recognize their cues for different things and whatnot, so that you can better provide for them what they need.
And so you mentioned kind of the birth services, and you touched a little on a couple other things, but what other services does Doulas of Jacksonville offer?
I want to go back to when you mentioned advocacy, because a lot of times when we mention that, people think that doulas are supposed to be in between the patient and the provider. And really, it's not like we are a barrier to prevent anything hugely catastrophic or anything like that, okay? But our advocacy looks like, so-and-so client, do you have any questions regarding what your doctor has just told you? Do you feel fully informed? Are you at peace with this decision? That type of thing. And so our advocacy can look very different from what people generally think advocacy looks like, So we're not there to be combative with medical staff or anything like that. We're there to work together so that we can facilitate better communication between you and your care provider, so that you can have a more positive experience in that manner.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I'm glad you cleared that up, because I do think when you use the word advocacy, sometimes you get like a bad picture of what that means.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of people think that it means that you are combative against the medical staff and you will refuse to let them do certain things to your client and that type of thing. But we are not like that. We are not in control of those types of things, and really our goal is to help you feel empowered. And so one of our main points that we focus on is that we help educate you on the things that you need to know. We help encourage you to go forth for the birth, towards the birth that you would like. And we help you feel empowered so that you can make fully informed decisions and be at peace with the decisions that you need to make if you need to make any.
And I think that using the word empowered is such a great term when it comes to, making decisions about what type of birth you would like.
Absolutely.
So when do you recommend an expecting mom hire a doula?
Just past the end of the first trimester. So in between like 12 to 16 weeks, you really want to get in and settle down on a doula. Now, prior to that point, you should be researching online, finding different doulas online through Google, Facebook, mom groups, recommendations from your provider, and all of those areas so that you can have time to look at how that doula practices and how they educate the public online. And that will tell you a lot about the level of support that they could really offer you.
And what types of questions would an expecting mom ask a doula if they're trying to find someone who's the right fit for them?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we really encourage the families that are looking for doula support to look at, okay, has the doula had experience in the type of birth you're looking for? Is backup support included in your package? That's a big thing for us because as an agency, we have many doulas. And so you get matched up with a doula that you mesh well with and who is available for your due date. And then you have backup built into that system through our other doulas in the agency. And so you really want to make sure that your doula, if she's a solo doula, you want to know that she has a backup available for you, and you want to know who that backup is so that you can at least have a little conversation with them so that you can make sure that you mesh well with the backup doula. Because sometimes emergencies happen and, doulas can get in an accident on the way to the birth or have a family emergency or get sick with COVID, or something like that. And so it's very, very important to have that in place. Another question I would ask would be, what type of certification and training do you have? Doulas are it's not a regulated state certification. So anyone who walks in off the street could really call themselves a doula. Okay. So you really want to make sure that your doula is properly trained and properly certified if possible, especially because most of our area hospitals, where the vast majority, about 94% of women probably birth in the hospital. And so knowing that, you really need to have a doula who is going to be used to working in that type of environment. And so just the same as if you're having a home birth, you want a doula that is going to be comfortable working in that type of environment in your home, as well as in the hospital in the event that you do need to transfer, And so those things are really, for me, the most important things when it comes to doula support, making sure that you are choosing the right one for you.
And I would think word of mouth also plays a lot into that. Do you recommend that people talk to not just friends and family, but do doulas provide like references? Is that something else you guys do?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We provide that. And most of our clientele these days comes from word of mouth. My provider referred me to you. My friend down the street referred me to you, that type of thing. And so you really want to get on the mom groups and really ask people, okay, if you loved your doula, what did you love about her? If there's anything you didn't like about your doula, tell me that. Who was your doula? That type of thing. And it really kind of can give you a deeper look into how they would provide you with support.
Absolutely makes sense. So let's say I'm getting closer to my due date. I'm past that 12 to 16 week window that you kind of talked about. Is it ever too late to hire a doula?
As long as the baby is inside of you, it's not too late.
That's a great answer.
So yeah, as long as you are still pregnant, it is never too late. We have had nurses call us and say, I have a patient here. She needs to be induced for something major, and she has no support, or her support has to stay at home with their other child because the child's not allowed in the hospital right now, and that type of thing. And so with that, we're like, okay, we'll be there in a heartbeat, and so we go and we serve. And so it really goes to show that it is never too late. As long as you're still pregnant, you can hire a doula as long as she's available. And that's the issue. And that's another reason why I say to try to hire earlier on in your pregnancy, because most of us fill up. Like, we are booking into February and March right now.
Wow.
So, and it's best to wait until later in the first trimester or into the first part of the second trimester to hire, simply so that if in the event there's a miscarriage and whatnot, you don't have lots of money changing hands, doing refunds and things like that.
That's some very good advice. So let's switch gears a little and talk about some other resources in Jacksonville for expectant moms. So what are some of your other go-to resources besides the doula network?
Well, really, we have some wonderful parenting groups here. And so we have some great mom groups. There's the Jax Beaches mom group, as well as Mom to Mom. And all of those groups do like play dates and workout routines together and stuff like that. The Jacksonville Natural Birth and Parenting group is a great resource for new and expecting parents as well on those topics. And fourth trimester fitness is great. They do like birth ball basics classes for pregnancy, and then also they do postpartum workouts and instructions to help rectify some diastasis recti and some pelvic issues that you may have going on post-birth, and so those are some really important things that can add a better quality of life for new parents, new moms, so those are really, really important. But another great resource is the Jax Bump and Beyond Expo that we throw every year. So this is our second year with that. Our first year was during the midst of the pandemic last fall. And we had a great turnout and people loved it. And halfway through the day, all of the vendors were like, oh my gosh, like, sign me up for next year. You're doing this again, right? So it's been a great resource for small businesses to network together, as well as for new and expecting parents to really kind of be encouraged to live like a natural, eco-friendly lifestyle.
And that's such a great segue, because that was the next thing I wanted to talk about. The Jax Bump and Beyond Expo is coming up in October. And tell us a little bit exactly what the expo is and who should plan to attend.
Okay, so the expo is really a great day to learn what all Jacksonville has to offer new and expecting families. And so we have everything from some great services like massage and whatnot, to nanny agencies, to midwives, home birth midwives, everything up to eco-friendly toys and baby eating utensils and things like that as well. And so we have everything from one end of the spectrum to the other, all in one spot for one day. There's a coffee bar and a toddler play area as well that we're going to have. So it's really going to be a great day out for moms and all parents, really. Last year we had grandparents come and attend, and And so we had people coming up from Tampa traveling up for the Expo last year. And so that's really our focus is really to just help encourage new and expecting parents in a more natural, eco-friendly lifestyle. Because, I mean, the fact is that the more natural the thing, the better it is for you generally. We're thankful for modern medical technology, and we use it when it's necessary, but it's great to help encourage these new parents to know that they can be more prepared for things. So that was really kind of the goal starting out, was that we saw many new and expecting parents asking for the same recommendations over and over, asking for the same types of product reviews over and over and that type of thing. And so I said, you know what, there's got to be a better way of doing this. And so that's kind of how Jack's Bump and Beyond Expo was born.
And it's such a great idea for an event. And as far as I know, there's nothing like that anywhere in our area up in North Florida for new and expecting moms. How much are tickets, and what exactly is included with your price of admission?
Yeah, tickets are $6 plus tax and fees. And so it's very affordable for everyone, and children 18 and under are free. And what's included is admission to the event. You get unlimited coffee bar access throughout the day, as well as some speaker sessions on topics that matter to new and expecting parents. So like this year, last year we had Groovaroo, who is a dance with your baby company, basically. And so they teach you in dance classes how to dance while you're wearing your baby in a baby carrier, or dancing with your toddler next to you and that type of thing. And they really just encourage good, healthy movement for the parent and the child. And they're going to be with us again this year doing a session as well. And so that was a big hit. And so we have everything from that to Fourth Trimester Fitness is going to be doing a session on some postpartum exercises and whatnot to help with your pelvic floor health and whatnot. So it's really going to be great for all new and expecting parents. And you're right, this is the only expo of this nature that is geared solely towards new and expecting parents. So we do have other local area expos that have been wonderful that are centered around a kids expo, or baby and kids expo, which really goes all the way up through the older ages of childhood. But we found that if we can really hone in on this expecting up through preschool age group of parents, we can really facilitate better quality of getting you the information and the products and the services that you really need during those time periods.
And that's such an overwhelming time for parents. There's so much information coming at you. You have so many questions. So to have one space where you can kind of, move around and seek out local experts, like such a great resource for expecting moms.
Absolutely. Because most new and expecting parents don't really know where to turn, or they think their physician or their pediatrician is going to tell them everything that they need to know. And that's really not reality. We need more than that. We need more support than that. Back in the day, everyone used to say, oh, it takes a village to raise a child and have a baby. Well, it really does. But here these days, it's hard to have that village. And so by having this expo for a day where everyone can find these things all in one spot, it really kind of helps them come full circle with that village of support, so to speak. We also have swag bags for the first 100 attendees that come in. Last year, we had like over $250 worth of discounts or products or services in those bags. And so this year, it's going to be close to that as well. So we're really, really excited to see this expo really help these new and expecting parents kind of thrive in the type of lifestyle that they want to lead.
And I think it's so important. We had Latch on Jax last month on the podcast, and we were talking about car seat safety and how a lot of people think that the hospital will help you install a car seat, which they don't. And so just like something so simple as being able to put your baby in the car seat and bring them home and to get to that point where you're ready to be discharged and there's nobody to help you. So to be able to get in front of that and get people resources so that they have that smooth transition from, pregnancy to parenthood is just so great to offer that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Latch on Jax will be with us this year as well. So bring your car seat, set up an appointment with her. She'll get you all fixed up.
Yeah, she's awesome. Okay, so last year was your first year for the event. And as you mentioned, it was planned right for when COVID kind of was at its peak last year. And I think you guys ended up rescheduling, and then, obviously things really haven't changed a ton. Talk to us a little bit about, your frustrations with that. And then how did it impact planning and logistics for, going forward into this year? I mean, I kind of feel like once you've had a successful event in the middle of a pandemic, like it's all downhill from there is my assumption. But talk to us a little bit about that and going forward, how hopefully we won't have to deal with this much longer.
Yeah, that's a good question. So we originally planned the event for the spring of 2020 in April. And of course, we had to reschedule that for the fall of 2020 in October last year. And really, it was a little difficult kind of just navigating, okay, what we do when and where and that type of thing. But it really kind of fell into place smoothly. And it went great last year, and we had a great turnout. We had a higher attendance than we expected to have, in the middle of a pandemic, and so we are expecting a great turnout again this year. And like I'm sure everyone has felt from time to time during this whole process of COVID. Yeah, so logistically wise, we really just kind of put things on hold when we needed to. And then when we decided for sure we were going forward with it in October last year, we just went full force, and abided by, the current mandates that were on for our county and city and that type of thing. And thankfully, everyone was very healthy, and they're great. The Aloft Jacksonville Tapestry Park Hotel, that's where we are holding the expo last year and this year. And they were really, really, really great about keeping things clean throughout the day with the bathrooms. And there was hand sanitizer everywhere for everyone to use if they liked and that type of thing. And so it really was a great experience considering the fact that it was in the middle of a pandemic, and technically we're still in that pandemic now. And with cases rising around us and that type of thing. And so we're very attuned to what we need to do physically to keep everyone safe and whatnot. And so we're really looking forward to the event this year.
I think it's great that you can be safe and yet have an event in person. I know that, my kids are older, so, the expo isn't really on my radar as far as something I would attend personally, but I know by October I was ready to do something. So to be able to have an event and make it safe for the participants, especially for pregnant women, is such a great accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, thankfully everything went great. And we really strive to do everything as safely as possible.
And so what are you personally looking most forward to at the expo? What's your favorite part of the expo?
My favorite part really is the giveaways because people are so excited when they win the giveaways because the giveaways are awesome. So like last year we gave away a Lily baby carrier and a California company Pop and Go playpen, as well as a massage through Peace and Quiet Massage Therapy here in Jacksonville. What else did we have as a giveaway? Oh, we had a huge basket of all types of pregnancy and baby related goodies, and so when our attendees won those prizes, I mean, they came out in the hall to get their gifts and they were like, where is it? Oh my God, I can't believe I won something. But it wasn't something tiny and small that really was insignificant. These are things that really will make your parenting journey start off much easier by having the great, safe products for your child and yourself.
That's awesome. I love giveaways. I think everybody loves giveaways. So that's such a great thing to look forward to.
Who doesn't love free stuff,
Exactly. So tell us, what is your favorite thing about being a mom in Jacksonville?
I love that we are so close to everything. So we're not too far from Disney World and SeaWorld. We have the alligator farm in St. Augustine, the fort, the fireworks. Everybody does everything like hardcore in Jacksonville. Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense. I would agree.
Yeah. Like our beaches are great. We're not far from the beach, but we're not far from great museums and everything as well. So that the children's like hands-on museum, downtown and whatnot. I mean, we just have some great resources in the theater. We have the theater, which is awesome. And that's a great avenue to bring your kids up and knowing these types of arts and things, and so we're really, really big on that type of thing. And so, yeah, that's one of the main things that I really love about Jacksonville.
Yeah, you get that big city feel and yet that small town vibe all at the same time here.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you so much, Christin from Doulas of Jacksonville and Jack's Bump and Beyond Expo for being here. We'll put links in our show notes to some of the resources we talked about today. And we'll also put a link to tickets for the expo. So if you are interested in attending in October, you can go on and get your tickets and make plans to be there. That's it for today. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Jacksonville Momcast. For more information about what you've just heard, check out our show notes and find us on Instagram at Jacksonville Momcast. If you've enjoyed this episode and know someone who should tune in, please subscribe and share it. We look forward to you joining us on our next episode of Jacksonville Momcast.